Worn-out bearings can cause serious damage to your rotary valve. And that also applies to new bearings when incorrectly fitted. That's why DMN has developed a bearing toolkit. This toolkit helps you replace your rotary valve bearings the correct way for optimal valve operation. Depending on the size of your rotary valve, there are 3 toolkit versions available: 150 to 175 mm, 200 to 250 mm, and 300 to 350 mm. You also need a soft-faced hammer, a drift punch, hex keys 4 and 6 mm, and a torque wrench. Open the rotary valve according to the DMN procedure and remove the rotor. Disassemble the bearing pot and the fitting ring at the non-drive side. Insert part 1 of the toolkit with the brass end 1A in the end cover and tap the bearing bush from the inside out of the end cover of the non-drive side. Assemble tools 6 and 8 of the toolkit. Remove the Sega retaining ring and place the bearing bush with the bearing in the tool and tap the bearing bush out of the bearing with parts 1 and 1A. Assemble tools 7, 7A and 8 and fit the new bearing on the bearing bush. Replace the rings onto the bearing bush. Assemble tools 6 and 8. Place the bearing bush into the end cover of the non-drive side using the tool. Tap the bearing a bit further into the end cover with the filler ring and assemble tool 2. Assemble parts 1 and 1A and remove the drive shaft with the bearings. Tap back the bended lip of the retaining ring. Put the drive shaft on the rotor and loosen the lock nut. Assemble tools 6 and 8 and place the drive shaft with the bearings on the tool. Tap the drive shaft out of the bearings. Assemble tool 7, 7A and 8. Fit the new bearings and washers on the drive shaft. Reassemble the parts. Assemble tool 6 and 8. Place the drive shaft with the bearings in the end cover of the drive side using the tool. Fit the rotor into the valve and close the valve according to the DMN procedure. Adjust the tension of the disc springs using tool 4 and a torque wrench. Center the rotor in the rotary valve with the adjusting screw on the drive side. Reinstall the drive. Disassemble tool 2. Fit the fitting ring and the bearing pot on the non-drive side and retighten the axial locking. The rotary valve is now fully operational. With the DMN Bearing Toolkit, replacing bearings is easy and ensures your rotary valve runs perfectly. Order your Bearing Toolkit via email or phone.